We're on the road with Mickey, we're gonna have some fun. Regardless of the rain or sun, our trip has just begun. So buckle up, let's go, we're about to start the show. And maybe if you like us, you'll see where else we'll go.
Hey everyone, I'm Mike, and she's Sophie,
And she's Brenda.
Hi, everyone.
and he's Grogu, and we're on the road with Mickey. This is episode 119 for April 25th, 2022, and our feature topic this week is how changes in technology have changed the rides.
Oh, yeah.
I think this is going to be a lot of fun because we're going to be taking a look back as well as a look forward and seeing all the things um, that how the rides have kind of changed over time. So I think we're going to have a fun episode. But first, we're going to start with our cheddar from the big cheese. And Brenda, I gave it to you first because we have some Guardian of the Galaxy info. So share it away.
Guardians of the Galaxy is just so awesome. I mean, all the movies. And let me tell you, one of the best things about the Guardians of the Galaxy movies are the songs that are in it. They brought back, like the first time I ever saw the Guardians of the Galaxy movie, all my years came rushing back. Fantastic. And younger, of course. Some of those songs came out when I was a little kid, but the music is the best in Guardians of the Galaxy. And over at the Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind, which we can't wait to ride in June, the team has revealed their list of 6 songs that will be part of the experience. They are September, Disco Inferno, Conga, Everyone Wants to Rule the World, I Ran, One Way or Another, and you won't know until the ride starts which one you'll get.
Wait, so there's like 6 possibilities? They don't all show up in the same thing?
I don't think so.
Apparently so. You know how when you ride Rock and Roller Coaster, well, you may not, but when you ride Rock and Roller Coaster, you don't always get the same song by Aerosmith.
Right.
Really?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So, I am so excited about this ride. I can't even see straight.
All right.
Great.
Okay, Sophie, your turn.
Yep, my turn.
Take us to California.
Yay!
Yep, this is over on the West Coast, Disney's California Adventure. Welcomed World of Color back this past Friday, April 22nd. Everyone that's listened know that I love that show, and I'm glad to hear it's back. Great. So now we have to plan a trip over to California again.
Yeah, or Google World of Color on YouTube and watch it that way.
Oh, that's not the same.
Much less expensive.
It is much less expensive. You're right. All right. Well, switching topics over to the movie side. I saw just the other day the second trailer for the movie Lightyear. And that's the origin story for Buzz Lightyear, remember. The trailer is really good, and I think the movie will be too. And it premieres on June 17th. And June 17th, as everyone knows, that's the day that we are at Walt Disney World.
Yay, that's our arrival day.
Yay! So none of you spoil it if you arrive the day after.
Yay!
Right. So that is our cheddar from the big cheese. And now we are going to talk about how changes in technology have changed the rides. And I have a little bit of history because I know Sophie loves her history.
Yes.
And Brenda
Absolutely,
does too.
I do.
And I wanted to talk about how things were when Walt Disney World first opened. So when Walt Disney World first opened, they had a set way of doing rides that were already developed, and in some cases the rides were imported from other places. And one key example that I'm thinking about is Prince Charming Regal Carousel. Prince Charming Regal Carousel was actually built in 1917 by the Philadelphia Toboggan Company. And before it ended up at Walt Disney World, it enjoyed runs at Belle Isle Park in Detroit, Michigan. And then it was moved over to Olympic Park in Irvington, New Jersey, before being bought by Disney in 1967.
Yay.
And I mean, if you just think about it, that ride is 105 years old now.
Yeah.
It's still perfect.
And it's still perfect, yeah. But many of the early Disney attractions focused on how the Disney Imagineers would take common things and put them to extraordinary use in making a ride come to life. And some key examples are the use of, the mirrors in the Haunted Mansion,
Yep.
To make the ghosts project,
Yep.
and the use of lights and that colored crinkly wrapping type
Yeah,
paper.
it's like crepe paper or something.
Yeah,
Yep.
that gives the illusion of fire in Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah.
But back then, all those concepts still revolved around mechanical rides that didn't vary from one ride to another. But with the advancement of computers, that changed how rides could be designed and how the technology really changed how attraction junkies like us were able to experience the rides. And that's what we're going to talk about today.
Yay.
How these rides revolutionize the way we think about rides. And as I was thinking about this topic, one of the first things that came to mind for me was the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror.
Well.
Yeah.
And I know I got 3 people, Grogu, Sophie, Brenda,
Yeah.
that are Tower of Terror fanatics.
Fanatics.
Absolutely.
And they told me, well, no, they didn't tell me anything, but I knew that the computer that drives the elevators in Tower of Terror always randomly picks how far it's going to drop, and then how far it goes up, and then when it's going to
Yay.
drop again, and when it's going to go up, and how much that's going to happen is all computer driven. So when you ride Tower of Terror, the first time you ride it, you get one experience. The second time, you might get a completely different
Yeah.
experience,
Yeah.
even though it still, scares the bejeebies out of me. So,
Yeah.
so that to me that's just one example about the Tower of Terror, right?
Yep.
So,
That was a great example.
well, good. I'm sorry I stole your example then, Brenda.
You're
No,
fine.
that's, that was well done.
Thank you.
My whole take on the whole technology on the rides thing is the fact that when I personally get on the ride, it still works.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's a miracle.
Oh, I guess so. That actually leads into the story of what happened right before we hit record on this episode, didn't it?
It happens every day of my life, all day long.
Yeah.
Oh goodness, technical
Technology doesn't like me.
Unless
That's why
you're at
we're
Disney
here.
riding a ride.
That's right.
Yeah, I think at that point it just decides to give you a break from being
Because
such a
everything
pain.
is magical at Disney.
Yeah.
Yep, that's right. It's not technology, it's magic. Why are we talking
Oh.
about technology?
Well,
This is magic.
okay, scrap this episode. The magic of Disney. That's the topic.
Oh
Anyway.
boy.
Looking at Star Tours, that's another one that I have a list of. Original Star Tours. Star Tours was very, very much stagnant. It was the same thing over and over and over again. But then they came out with the movies, like the prequels, and when they did that, I think that's when they made the change to Star Tours to incorporate some of those worlds into Star Tours, and they were able to incorporate the computers and the magic of Disney. There you go, Sophie. into the experience. So you never knew who was going to be the rebel spy. That was me. Thank you very much. Woohoo!
My
But it
husband was
wasn't me.
too.
See, Butch and I, we're
Yeah,
copacetic that way.
that's right.
But
Copacetic.
copacetic, not copathetic.
I mean, if
That
you're
works too,
rebels,
though.
then
If
you're
the
that
shoe
too.
fits. If the
Yeah,
shoe
if you're
fits.
rebels, then yeah.
But then you also didn't know what world you were going to go to on your Star Tour. You didn't know where you were going until you started.
Mhm.
So those sorts of things, to me, it's all because of the computer. They're able to randomly pick different scenarios and where you're going and what you're seeing and everything like
Yeah.
that. Don't you agree, Sophie?
Yeah, definitely I agree with that. It They made it so that it feels different every time.
Right. And that's the whole key.
Yep.
It's not the same thing over and over again. And I know in many cases it is the same thing, and that's okay. Because, like a roller coaster, it revolves around a specific track. You have a track layout, so you're going to go up here, you're going to go down there, and there's not much they can do to vary that. But for things like this that are computer driven and stuff like that, there and that involve imagery as well as a story or whatever, in a car and a movement, you can get into more
Mhm.
more variations. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get
all
different
right.
experiences even when you plan just the same trip.
Yeah,
Yep.
um
Let's be
in,
real. It doesn't matter what you do. Every single trip at Disney is going to be different, and it does
that's
not.
true.
There's nothing you can do to make two exactly the same trips. And that's why it's
Yeah,
good to keep on going back.
that's
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
That is right.
you know um and you're right. There is always something different that we experience each trip. So, but
Yep,
Sophie, you like Toy Story Mania, right?
I do. I do.
Yeah.
And the thing about Toy Story Mania is that it's not the ride itself that makes it different every time. It's the fact that it's interactive. So it's the humans that are interacting with the ride that make it different every single time. Because that's the part of it that's how the ride works. It's a game, and you don't play a game the exact same way every single time because then the game gets boring. So what am I trying to say here? I don't really know. I like it because I like to interact with it, and I also enjoy trying my best to beat Daddy, and no matter what you tell me, Daddy, I do beat you at Toy Story Mania. I don't
Yeah,
care
you
what
do.
you say.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
it's the
no,
competition that makes it so much fun. It's like
exactly.
trying to beat the
Yeah.
other guy,
Yeah.
no matter who it is.
A lot of times I will win on points, but I don't think I've ever won on accuracy. And this last time we did it, Sophie won on points and Mommy won on accuracy.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, Mommy is not going like, she's like, boop, boop, boop.
Yeah.
you know,
Bullseye, bullseye,
you know,
bullseye. Not
and I saw a
not
meme
spam,
the other day
spam.
about Toy Story, and it was so true. It said, Toy Story Mania is not a ride, it's a workout.
Yes, yes. By the time I get off that
For
thing, my
one
My
arms start
arms
arm.
are
I start
so
shaking
sore.
my arm.
I know they are so sore.
The issue is
Usually
that
at the
when
end, I have to switch to my left hand just to finish.
Yeah.
the issue is that whenever I have to switch hands in order to actually give my I am a right-handed girl, so I have to use my right hand to
To pull the
aim,
trigger.
and then when
Yes.
I switch to my left hand aiming, my accuracy goes way down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
understand that. Yeah.
So, but
But it's so much fun.
what's really cool though about Toy Story Mania is that the computer behind it they can change the games really quickly. So
Yeah.
from a, thinking back to a renovation or refurbishment cycle, the refurbishment cycle for Toy Story Mania, in theory, is less because it's a lot easier to fix, and change out a scene in a game that
Right.
you're playing, and so you don't have to worry about reprogramming all that and things like that. So, in
Yeah.
theory, at least, your refurbishment for Toy Story Mania should be less because of
Yeah.
that. So,
Yeah.
I think that's neat too.
Such a
Um,
fun ride.
yeah, and it is a fun ride. It is a fun ride to see yourself shrunk down to the size of Andy's
I
toys.
am not your mother.
Yep. I am not your mother. Break those plates. Sir, yes, sir.
Good one,
Yep.
guys.
Yep.
Oh
So
God.
much fun.
Yeah.
Yay.
And then, of course, Toy Story Mania is one of the best rides at Hollywood Studios, but almost equally so, there's also Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
which is actually one of the ones that I'm extremely excited to talk about just because the ride itself, it features a whole new way of like track.
Yeah.
It doesn't feature a
Yes.
track at all. It features these things called Omni Movers.
Mm-hmm.
And over here in the Americas, that is a very new concept. We don't have a lot of those. We have them in Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, and we have them in Rise of the Resistant and Remy's Ratatouille Adventure. Those are the only three. But over in like Shanghai Disney and Disneyland Hong Kong and Tokyo Disneyland, those are so common. And that's where we got them from. And it's amazing to see like things, even down to the technology or the magic, sorry, are so different over in these other parks than they are here.
Yeah.
And
We're
that,
evolving.
yep,
Exactly. Exactly. And you're exactly right. The technology and the magic that makes the ride for Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, how you split apart from everyone else, but then at the end, to quote Goofy in a different ride, it's automagically done. You know,
That's right.
and he was just talking about the doors for PhilharMagic, but same concept. They do it automagically,
That's
and
right.
so
That's a
and
great
then
one.
you're
yeah,
back together. So
yep. And another thing that I realized with Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, you could get into the first cart or the first train car of
Uh-huh.
that train, and when you all come back together, you could be in the last cart from the train. They don't come
really,
back in the same order.
oh, I didn't know that.
I have always
Yeah.
I have always come back in the same order. Must have been by coincidence.
Oh yeah, because the last two times, I mean, the last few times I read them, like my first time writing it, I didn't really notice it. We were in the second car, and I think we came back in the third car, and I was like, wait a minute. And then I made a note to keep track of it. And when I wrote it again, we got into like the third car or something, and we came back together as the first car right
Oh
behind
wow, I
Goofy's
gotta look
train.
That's
at that.
crazy. I didn't
Yeah.
realize that
I
because I
don't think
always
I've
come
ever
back the
noticed that.
same.
Yeah, I don't
Yep.
think I ever noticed that. So I'm
We're
gonna
gonna have to figure that out.
definitely pay attention to that and see where we go.
Yeah.
Because I
Yay.
hadn't I hadn't realized that. I thought you came in, you left as the first car, you would come back as the first car because they would. I don't know how they wouldn't have any sort of accidents otherwise.
That's
Yeah.
you know.
interesting.
So well, I'm curious. I want to see. I really want to see if that happens.
Yay.
So,
Yep.
but yeah, Mickey and Minnie. Runaway Railway is just a prime example of how the technology has really evolved and really has expanded the fun that we have on our rides. So,
Mhm.
and another one, just you mentioned it, Sophie, but Remy's Ratatouille Adventure. It's you take it and you're looking at it from it's a similar process to what you have with like a Soarin' or
Yeah.
Flight of Passage
Right.
or a Star Tours. Those sorts of things where you're in a vehicle of some sort, but you also have imagery that you're looking at. And the thing that the attraction does is it really makes it feel like you are going so much further than I think you really are. I don't think we're hardly going at all.
Yeah, I think a lot of it's illusion, but
Yeah.
it's well done.
Yeah. I
Mhm.
mean, thinking about back to previous ride, Ellen's Energy Adventure,
Yeah.
that's not going to be Guardian.
Yeah.
That was a huge building, and you were in a car, and you actually were moving throughout the building to see the different scenes.
Right.
But in Remy, you're seeing the video come at you, and it feels like you're
Yeah.
moving like crazy. But I feel like you're probably moving, and I don't know. I would be real curious to see if we could find out. But it feels like you're moving maybe max 25 feet, if
Yeah.
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
You know, so it's just those sorts of things, the illusions and how they get it. That harkens back to the original stuff that was based on illusion, but it still works because of the technology making it just feel so much more so than it did before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just my thought.
I agree totally.
So, um, now, one thing we haven't even talked about yet, um, and perhaps I should have at the beginning, was the audio animatronics.
Oh yeah.
And those obviously audio animatronics have been around forever.
Yeah,
Uh,
forever.
we have um, we have the Enchanted Tiki Room. We have the give me some other ones. Pirates has audio animatronics.
Yep. The Hall of President. I mean, everything. There's a
Yeah,
lot.
there's a lot of them that have audio
Yeah.
animatronics,
Oh
and
yeah.
they've been around forever. But from what I understand, and I'm no scientist or Imagineer. More importantly, I'm not an Imagineer. But from what I understand, Hondo Onaka of Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run is the most advanced audio animatronic that Disney has ever created. Did I hear that correctly?
I
I
don't know.
thought it was the giant avatar lady
Ah,
that they had in the Navi River journey.
Okay. That could be. I might be wrong. I'm not certain.
Yeah. I'm not I'm not quite sure either. I remembered us like watching a Pixar documentary, not a Pixar documentary, a documentary about the animatronics sometime after the Pandora world came out, but I think this was before.
oh,
Smuggler's Run.
it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
So
before
that's
Smuggler's
from
Run.
what I heard, but it may be something different now. It may be the Hondo Onaka animatronic.
Okay. Either way, you're right though. I hadn't even thought about her in
Yeah.
in Navi because she
Yeah.
is really really intense.
Yeah,
And
and like they've shown a close-up look at her. She has the skin membrane over her
Face.
animatronic thing, and it's apparently it does feels soft and squishy like human skin, and it
Wow.
moves when she talks because she can talk.
Yeah. And then
It's amazing.
Mhm.
You've got, I mean, he looks like exactly what you would expect him to look like, and
Yeah.
talks exactly like you expect him to talk. And you don't look at him as, oh well, he's just a robot.
Right.
You don't
Right.
see him that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
That's for
and
sure.
then you get into the ride itself, and with Smuggler's Run, you've got the Easter egg that we've talked about previously. How if you have everyone and you do everything the right way, you hold your tongue the right way, then you activate Chewy mode. And I've yet to hear it, but I would love to hear it one day.
I've heard it, but I made the cast member aggravated because I kept pressing all the buttons when he was telling me to get in my seatbelt.
So you actually
I
did
was
activate
that
it
was
though.
my like going in, that was my objective. Press all the buttons right away. So he's like, seatbelts, ma'am, seatbelts, ma'am.
Yeah.
But
Coming.
you did activate it.
I did. Yeah.
Yep.
How did it
Cool.
change your ride
I
experience?
just thought it was cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you had no idea what he was saying.
Oh well, heck no.
No,
You
I
know,
don't either.
I'm like sub Star Wars knowledge anyway. You know what I mean? Like that's not my
Well,
thing. Like
you
I am
know,
Marvel, you know?
yeah, at university they didn't have Chewbacca language as one of your
No,
electives. So
no. You know, I didn't realize how much I paid for such little education.
I
Mhm.
know, right? I mean, I think we need to go back to school just to learn Chewbacca language.
That's
Wookiee. Just to learn
Yeah.
Wookiee.
that's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Put that on my to-do list.
Yep.
All right.
Pretty
So,
good ride though.
it is
It
a great
is.
ride. It is a great ride. So, talk to me, if you would, about Rise of the Resistance.
Okay, so there is just one thing I want to point out with the animatronics and Rise of the Resistance.
Okay.
Just because of the way that the attraction starts and you are actually like with real people,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why, but I thought for the longest time that a lot of those animatronics in that ride were real actors.
Wow.
Hmm.
Yeah, like I know even
Yeah.
the stormtroopers when you first enter into the First Order ship and all those stormtroopers are just standing there with their guns looking at you, like you know that they can't possibly just pay a bunch of people to stand there in that armor all day being a part of the ride, but it felt like they were real people. As well as there's this one point in time where Finn is like hiding behind some cargo things when you get into the ride. It looked like he was a real person, and I was like, how on earth is he not scared that one of these Omni Movers is gonna run him over? It
Yeah.
was wow.
Well, and even the is it projection technology that Ray is? What
I think
is
so.
it? I mean,
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Yeah.
it
That
is.
What
Ray looks
Disney's done
like
with
she's,
projection is
yeah. Yeah.
Yep. I think the only one in the I think the only one that I knew immediately was an animatronic in that entire ride was Kylo Ren. That was the only one, and that was just because of the fact that there was an explosion that happened behind him, and all he did was sort of flail his arms around.
yeah.
See, I think I get so caught up in the experience that I miss the little details. And that's what I need to focus myself on. Next time we ride Rise of the Resistance, I need to make sure that I focus on these little details because I'm missing them.
Yeah.
And I don't and I think perhaps the same thing, but don't even realize it. And so So
There's so
anyway,
much going on that ride.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. I
yeah,
just I just love that one.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
It's just so well done. So
yeah,
many different levels of. Now that's why it breaks down a lot though. Things go wrong a lot.
yeah. And you're right. That's a interesting thing to bring up is that the technology isn't always your friend.
No, it's not. I
No,
can
I
verify
mean,
that for sure. But
Yeah.
I had guests recently, and this is why, planning another Disney trip is, there's always something else to do. Is my guests recently, after the ride had been closed for a problem, when it reopened, they missed the whole first part where they're taking it and then the wall, they missed all that. They went straight to walking to the second part.
right,
So
and
you
that's
miss
exactly
good to
what
good to write it
Cindy
again.
mentioned that too.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
that's why you write it again.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And um, unless you YouTube it or whatever, you may not realize that you missed a step.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
and in that regard, when you do experience it with the full thing, you're like, oh my gosh, they just changed the ride, you
Yeah.
know? And not realizing that the first time there was a malfunction and you had to go. Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
when we were going to ride it the first time, we got all the way right up to where we would go into the first part of it. And they said, sorry, the system's acting up and we're going to scan
Yeah.
you and you get an instant return time when it reopens, but we have no idea when that's going to be. And fortunately, it all worked out and we were able to experience it.
Yeah.
But
My
but
first
yeah,
time too, we were in the line for a long time and then it broke down and they told us we could stay in the line. They didn't know how long it would be or you could leave, which is out of the question when that happens. And then like 5 minutes later, cast members are coming in with bags of chips in a big tray and giving them to everybody and bringing bottled waters for everybody.
wow,
Oh
It was
wow.
it was Disney. You
yeah,
know,
Yep.
that was Disney
you know what
above
I
and
mean?
beyond.
They
Exactly.
care
We've
about
talked
their
about above and
guests.
beyond.
Yep.
Yep. They care
Yeah,
about their guests, and that's the best part about it.
yeah.
Exactly.
And I had this shirt on that first trip,
Nice.
and we were walking, and it was a point where we would go and we would turn and loop back, and there was a cast member there, and without blinking, without batting an eye, he points over here. He goes, "This is the way."
Yep.
And I'm like,
They're the best.
corny humor is my thing. So I
That's right.
was like, way to
That
go. Well
that is the
played. Well
best.
Yep.
played.
That is the best.
So, but I have one more attraction on our list, unless
Yep.
you guys add others. But I did want to talk about Avatar: Flight of Passage. Um,
Now
I'm
that is a
kind of
great ride.
For
I'm
sure.
kind of out of order a little bit because maybe we should have talked about it when we talked about the audio animatronic from Navi, but
Well, that
um,
wasn't on our list.
oh,
So there
Yeah, that
was
and
was a
no
side
other.
chat.
I didn't put it on the list because I was thinking of it as just a boat ride,
Yeah.
but it is more than just a boat ride, but it doesn't, the technology doesn't change the experience
Yeah.
really. But with
Makes it
with
better.
Navi, I mean with Flight of Passage, you go through the pre-show,
Yeah.
and you're standing in a spot and you see how you're, how you adapt and how you work with, to become one and how it works for you and all that. And
Yeah, you have to be matched.
yeah, so it's got that, at least the illusion of technology that makes you work with the Banshee, you
Yeah.
know.
Yep.
So, but it
Yeah.
is a great ride,
I mean,
and
the way that thing breathes, I mean, it I just everything. It's
yeah,
just every sense. It's like it touches every sense, you know? It's
hmm
crazy.
it
Oh, it's just
does,
so
it
beautiful.
does,
Yeah.
it does, and And
That ride is like heaven.
It
Yeah.
sure is.
it's a great ride. So it's totally worth it. If you've never experienced it, you need to next time you're there, you need to make a point to experience it.
For sure.
So because it really is a very unique experience and you feel like you are flying, you
Yep.
know. Even more so I think than Soren.
Oh, for
Yeah.
sure. Way,
Yeah.
way more so.
Definitely.
So
Definitely.
um
Yay.
I don't know that I have any other truly technology changing rides at Disney that I could think of. Am I missing any?
Um,
I mean, we think roller coasters mostly, and
Space
the
Mountain is, I mean, I think of Space Mountain as being technology because it was the most technologically advanced anything for a long time.
yep.
yeah,
And I mean, we already talked about the way they made it look like fire in the Pirates of the Caribbean ride, but did you know that the fire effect was so realistic when they first showed it that the people who saw it and were in charge of making sure the ride was safe was like, you can't have that. This needs to be shut down. And they were like, wait, it's just paper.
it's
Yeah.
not really fire. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that story, and there's some debate as to whether that actually happened or if that's an urban legend, but it's a great story nonetheless. And I
Yeah.
want to I choose to believe that that actually did happen because the realism of it, especially if you think about Disneyland's Pirates opened what, Brenda, in the 60s,
Think so.
Yep.
so a long time ago, and
Yeah.
that would have been cutting edge, you
For
know.
sure. Yeah.
So for sure, exactly.
Masters of illusion.
Yep.
Um, but one thing that I did notice is predominantly in my thinking anyway, it feels like most of the truly technology changing rides are over at Hollywood Studios.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe it's just the way the development happened, the development cycles, but it feels like those are the things, that's where they're heading to. I know not exactly because you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
Remy
Well, and
has,
the projection technology on the Frozen ride, you know how they're all projected.
yeah, that's true.
That's
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 true.
cool that they're able to do that.
So, but as far as Magic Kingdom goes, typically you're think to my thinking anyway, Magic Kingdom is is perfect for its originality and its original settings.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yep.
mean?
Yeah.
So
Yes.
so there's not as many rides there where the technology truly is is ride changing in my thinking anyway. So, any other attractions we need to talk about?
Um, Not that I can think of.
Can't think of any. I wonder if the listeners are going to remember any that we didn't remember, and I hope they write in if they do, because sometimes I'm like in my mind I'm going like around the park, you know,
Yeah,
but it
exactly.
doesn't mean that I'm
Yeah.
not going to miss any.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm glad we had this conversation, and it is time. I'm going to wrap it up on our feature topic, and now it is time for this day in Disney history. So, Sophie, what do you have for us?
Yay.
All right. Well, I have three things, and they happened between the year 2000 and the year 2003.
Oh,
Okay.
The first of these happened on April 25th, 2000, and that was that Disney's live musical stage production, The Lion King, opens in Toronto, Canada. It's not the movie, it is the Broadway version of it. Well, not the Broadway, but it's a
live musical.
theatrical stage. Yeah.
Yeah.
Stage production. Yeah.
And
Awesome.
then on that same day, the ASCAP Film and Television Awards are announced at the Beverly Hilton in Los Angeles, California. Among the winners for the most performed songs for motion pictures is You'll Be in My Heart, written by Phil Collins from Tarzan.
Oh, that's a good song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And among the winners for the top box office films are Toy Story 2, Tarzan, and Inspector Gadget.
Good stuff.
I think we should take a moment to wish Phil Collins the very best of luck as he retires and hope that his health continues and gets better. And he's been such a huge part of Disney movies.
Oh,
Absolutely.
yeah. Absolutely. And yes, absolutely. Let's wish him best in the next season of his life, you know?
Yeah.
Yep.
So, all right. And do you have anything else, Sophie?
And then finally in 2003, I have one more. The 10th annual Epcot International Flower and Garden Festival kicks off at Walt Disney World.
Yay.
Wow.
Such a beautiful festival. My
Yep.
goodness.
So the Flower and Garden has been going since 1993?
Yep, that's what it says.
I had no idea.
I did not either.
Zero idea that it had been going that long.
So that means that next year is going to be its 30th anniversary.
Yeah, exactly.
Ooh, I wonder what they're going to do for that one.
They'll do something special for it.
Probably.
All right, then.
Okay.
That's all I have.
Well, I have something for you, ladies.
Oh, here it
And
comes, Sophie.
Oh?
my character this week. Oh, I didn't underline my clues. I
Oh,
looked
no.
at. So, this character, can you hear me okay?
Yep, I
Yeah.
can hear you.
This character is loyal, humorous, carefree, thoughtful, and courageous.
Loyal, humorous, carefree, thoughtful, and courageous.
Uh-huh. He is not the main character, by the way. That's a freebie. You're welcome. But so he's not the main character of his movie, but he is the main character's best friend and sidekick.
Mm.
And this character is always looking out for his brave but sometimes foolhardy friend. This is a tough one, I think.
Dachshund from The Great Mouse Detective.
No, but that's a good guess.
Is it Thumper?
No.
I know it's not Olaf. We did him, right?
Yes, it is not Olaf. This is an older Disney movie.
Happy?
You mean no, it's not that old.
Okay. Do the one clue again that had all the adjectives in it.
Okay. Loyal, humorous, carefree, thoughtful, and courageous.
Gus Gus?
No.
It could be so many. Timon?
It could be
Pumbaa?
so many. It could be so many.
It's an older movie.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
So
I'm stumped.
So am I.
think about, well, let's see here. I don't have enough info on this.
It could
really-
be so many people. I mean, it could be so many.
It could be, yeah.
So
I think we're stumped, Daddy. I think you win this time.
I'm gonna win this one.
Yep.
Okay. Well, I don't have any way to make it to where you could pull it out. I don't think. So, the character. Well, no, I want to give you the movie, and you see if you can figure out the character.
Oh, she'll definitely get this one then.
The movie is Robin Hood.
Little John.
That's right, Little
Very
John.
good.
Best friend and sidekick. Foolhardy friend
Walking
for
through
Robin
the
Hood.
forest, picking up.
Goodness.
So it's a little blurb, it says, and I told you the first adjectives are the part of the first sentence. It says, Little John is Robin's best friend and sidekick. He is always looking out for his brave but sometimes foolhardy friend. Unlike Robin, who takes risks, Little John is cautious. He thinks out the potential consequences of his actions and tries to make Robin do the same. And I didn't have enough text in there to really, I guess I could have,
you could have sang doing this and this and that and having such a good time.
I don't know the words on the
golly, what a
songs.
day.
Anyway,
Yeah.
it's Little John from the movie Robin Hood.
Very good. Very good, Sophie. Sophie,
Thank you.
that one really, I mean, it could have been we could have literally guessed all day long.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that was still great that you got it that quickly when he said what movie.
Oh, but that was a dead giveaway.
Well, you know what? I still think you're awesome.
Thank
do
you,
I.
Aunt Brenda. Well, you're supposed to think I'm awesome, Daddy. You're my dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got partial ownership in that stuff.
Yep. All right. Well, that takes us to Aunt Brenda
All right.
and a
Walt.
little bit of Walt.
Well, last week I think I did a quote on children, and today I did another one. So here it
Go
comes.
figure.
Yeah. The way to keep children out of trouble is to keep them interested in things. Lecturing to children is no answer to delinquency. Preaching won't keep kids out of trouble, but keeping their minds occupied will. Walt
Absolutely.
Disney. And that reminds me of what I heard growing up. Idle minds are the devil's workshop.
Yeah.
Yep.
Keep them busy. Keep them busy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Yep.
Well, that wraps us up for this week. Coming up next week, we are starting a new 2-part series, and we are taking a look at the lands of the Magic Kingdom. We're going to each cover a land each week for the next 2 weeks. So Sophie is taking on Liberty Square, right?
Yes.
I'm doing
No.
I'm doing
No.
Liberty Square.
Brenda's doing Liberty Square.
Thank you,
Sophie's
Sophie.
going to do Fantasyland. And I'm going to look at Adventureland next week. And we're going to list at least 5 things from each land that we really like about that land. And then the following week, we're going to do part 2 of that series. And Sophie is going to take Frontierland. And Brenda is going to take Tomorrowland. And I'm going to take Main Street USA. And the same thing. So the next 2 weeks, we're going to be focusing on the Magic Kingdom and each of their lands. And I thought of this because before you joined us, Brenda, Sophie and I did a 2-part series on the pavilions, the World Showcase pavilions. And we went all the way around.
That's nice.
World Showcase as part of that. And we had so much fun with that. And I realized that there's so much we can do on that kind of scale for all the areas. So I think we're going to start incorporating some of that into some of our episodes in the future. So
I think so too.
Yeah, like 1 a quarter or something, because there's so many. Yeah, so many things to share.
So
There's so much to share.
there's so much to share, and that's what we've got coming up next week. So I'm Mike, she's Sophie, that's Brenda, he's Grogu, wave Grogu, there you go. And we're on the road with Mickey, and we hope you have a great week, and we will
See
you
you
on the road. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.